All right. Hello.
Hello, hello.
Here we go. So I think we'll just start with setting the space first.
Sounds perfect.
Okay. So just taking some deep breaths. Asking all of our angels, healers, spirit guides, ancestors, archangels, ascended masters, and galactic family, but most importantly, asking our higher selves to be present in and around us right now, giving us this sacred space and time to have this divine conversation at this divine moment. Asking for clarity and wisdom, ease, grace, guidance for a beautiful co-creating conversation. And then we just ask for beautiful energy and light of protection around us in each of our spaces, around the people who are tuning in and listening, and between us in the ethers, that all may be sealed and protected so that only the highest of the highest of the highest may be present and shown here today. And so it is. Thank you. Is there anything you'd like to add, Amy?
That was it. We called them all in and we're definitely supported. I feel it.
Mm,
Mm.
definitely. And so it is. Thank you. And so it is. Thank you. And so it is. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Awesome. Oh, I'm so excited. What's up, girl? Good morning.
Morning.
Oh,
Lovely to do this with you, this co-collab with our teams of light and opening this new branch of just funness. I can feel it. It's really exciting.
yes,
And this has
totally.
been something we've wanted, I think, to manifest for a while.
Yeah. I mean, we've been talking about it for weeks, but yeah, we're finally making it happen. So it's good.
Yeah.
Today's little chat was going to be about being seen, being heard, and shining our lights in a way that feels good for us. So we're just going to chat a little bit about that. Do you want to start it off?
Sure. I mean, we can start with our awesome images we found through generating through an AI app, right? Just to have some fun visuals for everyone to look at.
Yeah.
And I really love how they turned out.
Yeah. It is so much fun. I think we were talking about how this started and like all of a sudden like everyone like so many friends on Facebook were doing these pictures and I'm like, what the heck is this? But nobody was talking about where they found them. Like
Right.
they were just posting these dope pictures of themselves. I'm like, what? I
Mhm.
want to try that.
Mhm.
um, and at fact, actually, at first I wasn't into it because everyone like it did seem very like AI.
Yeah.
But I tend to have resistance around things I don't understand or know about, and so I know for myself, I was then like I think it took me like a couple weeks to actually do my own. And it was because I was guided by my team to be able to use these for business purposes. And I didn't know what that was going to look like at the time. I was just like, all right, this will be fun. Of course, the first batch I was like, none of these look like three of them looked like me. What about for you?
Yeah, I would say like, oh gosh, a good majority of them turned out pretty spot on.
Yeah.
So I had a number to choose from, and this one's cool. It's really like wintry how it is now, where I'm here
Yeah.
in Montana, where it's freezing.
Yeah, totally.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That's- I
And I
love
also
it.
did it for my daughter too, like one of them. And it was like, whoa, it aged her and made her look like she's going to look when she's older. It was pretty wild.
Really? Oh, my daughter wants to do it too. So, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think too, like the reason that the first ones didn't look like me was because I don't really take a lot of selfies. And going back through my pictures, I'm like, oh my gosh, these are all like between like 2 and 10 years old, the pictures that
Oh,
I do have. So a lot of them, like I have dreadlocks and almost none of the pictures show that I have locks. So I thought that was really interesting because all of my pictures, I've only had locks for a little over a year now. So all my
yeah.
pictures don't have them. So I'm like, oh,
No, it sounds like we need to be doing more selfies.
I guess so. I think that's part of this like being seen thing too, which is so
Yeah.
interesting. I've even since we chatted a couple days ago, I've had such interesting epiphanies about this being seen and being heard
Uh-huh.
um, stuff. So I'm super excited to just kind of dive into what that means. And even like behind these pictures, it still looks like us, but it's not we're not showing our faces right now and what we're doing right now in the space that we're in
Yeah.
right now.
Right.
So I think that that was part of being getting out there and being seen and heard, what is that I've realized just like through working with coaches and talking with you and like figuring out in myself, what is this, like what am I so scared of, like what am I afraid of.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it, two aspects that I've um, come to understand. One for myself was that I have been, I guess I could say like after a specific session one time, I had done a session with a girl, and a lot of the stuff that came up in her session was about her boyfriend, and her and him were splitting up at the time, and it was just rough. And I knew who he was, but I hadn't like seen him out and about much. And of course, like the next day or 2 days later or something, I saw him out and I was with my kid, and he made me really, really, really uncomfortable. Um, and I didn't know if he knew who I was, but like after that, I know he knew who I was. And I don't know if he like watched our session or what, but I just became a lot more conscious of like me being seen in that way, and knowing, because I had some psychic stuff happen after that, and it was made very, very aware that I needed to protect myself and from him, but like also like ongoing, like it was a big learning lesson for me, like, oh,
Mhm.
I need to, and especially just like being a single mom, and it just being the two of us, like I really want to make sure that and my daughter's super, super, super sensitive energetically.
Mhm.
So I'm like super mama bear, but also like how important it is just to protect ourselves energetically around when we're doing that kind of work, but then also after, unfortunately, like that's the world we live in right now. And that's just something we gotta keep in mind, that we are these beautiful lights, and sometimes that attracts darkness, and sometimes it forces us into our own shadows, but it's also a beautiful part of the ride. So
Oh, yeah. It's definitely something I've felt deeply as well. But that makes complete sense about having to protect your, because what we have to share, what you have to share does impact people on our livelihood and what we do and how we see ourselves and how we interact with our loved ones and most importantly how we see ourselves. So when you have these sessions with people and they're really impactful, they do end up resonating out to the partners and the kids, because they're new awarenesses to take in and integrate.
right.
And then how they're shared at home on the other end is it good? Is it received well or not well? Is it a threat?
Right.
I can imagine that's how it felt at first.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, but yeah, for myself, it was more like the whole being seen. I used to never really have a problem with this. And I think there was triggering, and it must be past life things. It must be childhood trauma. It's all sorts. It's like one big um, ball of wax, I feel. And then it melts down and you see really what's in the center of the ball of wax
Right.
causing the reaction. And I'm, you know, embracing more and more of this, like being seenness and peeling the layers back. It does take time, I think, for some people, becoming more in their center and being exactly who they know they are. And that's the journey that I've been on, is rediscovering who I am after putting up so many walls of hiding, you know, because being seen always hasn't been acceptable. Being
Right.
heard hasn't always been acceptable. And so the walls go up, right?
Yeah,
So, but
absolutely.
it's time to take them all down and it's time to share.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is such a cool way for us to do that behind these pictures and eventually, coming out of the closet or whatever, and however that looks for us. I'm excited to see how that
Yeah.
blossoms. But I think too, it's I think it's good for us to talk about this because this is a conversation that isn't necessarily had very often. That having us of the light who, especially in the last couple of years, like I think forever, whenever somebody feels different or talks different, and I feel like we're kind of a little more out there than a lot of folks. Like I know our circle, we have a lot of friends who are super um enlightened out there with us,
Yeah.
but in the world in general, like there's not that many who are out here with us.
Yeah.
So it just like makes it, and we forget that, I feel like. So we have these conversations, and then I've gotten, whenever I was posting on like my old Facebook page, I was getting messages from family and friends like, who are you even? And what are you talking about? Like, what is this?
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's so telling of like, wow, I actually don't even think about that much because I like surround myself with such high vibe people. And I don't mean high vibe like they're perfect and they're only love and light, but
Mhm.
that they're aware of both sides. And so I just think it's so fascinating. And I did want to say too, like you were talking about how our traumas and stuff have such a huge part to do with that. And I know in a lot of cultures, it's the way for women or the way for specific either genders or whatever. Also grew up in foster care, and it was like, you know don't be seen or heard, like, and then don't get in trouble, as long as you're not out there. And so I was talking to my homeboy yesterday, and he was like, we were talking about, because I just started back at the gym, and this is another like being seen and heard thing, right? So like I tend to like go into corners and be quiet, and go in, there's like this one like private room you can start in. And you're from here, you're from Humboldt, and
Uh-huh.
it's a small town, so when you go to the
Yes.
gym, you don't run into people, like it's just gonna happen.
You know
uh,
people.
yeah, like every single time I've gone to the gym, I've run into at least two people every single time, and I've only gone 3 days in a row. But I'm just
Right.
like, really. um, and so I realized like that I like doing my own thing, and so I was talking to my homeboy yesterday, and I was like, I was talking about getting new like gym clothes, and how I was like, it's so funny because I realized like everything I was looking was like loose shirts, and not so much form fitting. 'Cause I realized that a lot of that is because my brothers used to get on me if I did wear form fitting, or even my mom would say really mean things to me if
Mhm.
I was wearing like form fitting or anything even slightly revealing.
Yeah.
Um, and that would shut me down even more, right? So like I realized when I was looking at these shirts, I'm like, and I'm probably still going to buy them because I'm still in this state. Like I still don't feel comfortable being
Yeah.
seen in that way. Like,
Yeah.
it just feels uncomfortable for me because I've been this way for so long. Like I'm pushing 40, so it's not like this is a new
Yeah.
thing. I've been like this my whole entire life because of being shut down and not, told that it's not okay to show my body or
Yeah.
and that's also what I realized yesterday. We're talking about it. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's why I have had so much resistance too to even working out, because then I'm gonna my beautiful, voluptuous, womanly curves are gonna start showing, and I'm gonna be seen. I'm gonna be looked at, and
Right.
even that feels uncomfortable. So it's just so fascinating to even think about how those things from our childhood still just affect every ripple of everything that I'm doing even today,
Yeah.
whether it comes to work or working out. It's crazy to me, so crazy.
It's perfect. It's like the perfect representation because we all have them. This is the mirror looking back into what needs healing, and you're doing the work, and we all have these mirrors coming back at us going, huh, that's interesting. That's been here all along and I'm just now seeing it, or I'm seeing it from
Right.
this perspective, or I'm seeing it from, down on this layer, whatever the layer is, because we've known these things are
Exactly.
around, but it's seeing it in a different light
Yeah, absolutely.
and knowing that you're ready to step through and do the transformational work. And that shows up in so many different ways.
Yeah. And doing that transformational work. Like I was just thinking about this morning. I'm like, how important it is, and how moving through these things is by doing that work, right? Like so many clients are just like, yeah, but I just don't know how to get there. And it's like, you don't just get there. You have to do the work to get there. That's how you get there, is doing the work. So I've had many of rants where I just kind of got super frustrated with people like being like, oh, well, you're just so lucky. You just have this gift. And no, I work at my gift every single day. I meditate. I mean, not every single day, but pretty close. I do stuff in my meditations to go through and heal inner child stuff. Like I go and I just met with the goddess Sekhmet yesterday to when and we were talking about like shining our light and being seen and having that feel okay again. She was helping me, giving me some tools and just some empowerment energy.
I love it.
And yeah, that kind of stuff, it's like it sounds wild and out there to a lot of people, but when I'm in those moments, like there's nothing like that healing. I just, you could just feel this shift and transition into it, and it takes a while to get there. I've done a ton of guided meditations to help me do a lot of this work too. That's a huge part of it. It's not like I just always go in and have these beautiful meditations,
Visions.
you know taking baths on in crystal bathtubs on Venus and stuff. Like it's taken me
Right.
a decade of regular
Uh-huh.
meditating to get there. But it's the work, right? Like that's how we heal this stuff. And it's so important to do that, especially moving forward, so that we can help. I think you and me are so passionate and so excited and so ready and willing to help people.
Mhm.
And even in doing so, like just by us starting this and having it with these pictures to make us feel comfortable, this is doing the work.
Yeah.
We started, we
This is
have the
doing
picture.
work. This is a big step.
Yeah.
And yeah, it does doing the work. Gosh, that all starts from knowing that there is a higher purpose for your life, and you want to heal your body, you want to heal your mind and your spirit all together. But like it's a knowing. It's like it's a journey to go within, innately knowing this is like, I must do this, right? We all start on this path at one point or another. We go see a massage therapist who's intuitive, or we go see an emotional healer, we go see a physical healer. We all go to the doctor, to want to be healed. But the internal journey is where we do become the most healed, and no one can do it for us. But we all go on this path at one point or another, and we get off the path and we get back on the path, and a lot of us, the journey takes us in so many different directions, but it is that internal quieting of the mind and feeling the feels and going back and recognizing what's maybe coming up to feel, to heal, to look back and have a different perspective on something that happened in our past, in our childhood, that has shaped us. And then we get to make another choice of how we go forward with moving through all of that knowledge.
Heck yeah.
And then working through all these visions, and like your third eye becomes more and more open as we become more clear. You get your diet clear, you get your, working on your physical body. Because the third eye opening up is pretty magical, because that's when you do start having the visions, and you have it's just phenomenal. It's really, when that started happening for me, and just like in the last few years, it was like, hallelujah,
Yeah.
finally,
Yeah. Yeah.
more
Yeah.
connection to the outside realm, the inside realm, but like it's really coming into awareness in a new way.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love it. It's so fun opening that third eye and just like tapping into the clairs that make us who we are, and that with the gifts that we have that have always been there, but opening back up to them and not fearing them and knowing that we're not crazy because we're tapping into them. Like it's a whole journey. I love hearing how people are waking up. I think everyone comes from a different angle. I know a lot of people who woke up from their religious background. I know a lot of people who woke up from their political backgrounds. Like it's so fascinating to watch how people step onto their spiritual journeys in exactly how they're meant to, when they're meant to. And it's so divine. And I think it's important to touch on like a big reason why we're doing this is to kind of help bridge the gap between what is um for the people who have stepped on the path, who have been on the path for a long time, who have found some beautiful healing methods, some alternative healing methods, and linking those with people who are already on it. There's people who are facing addiction, depression, anxiety, who there, and then there's other people who just want to learn how to tap into their higher selves. And I think the services that we offer as healers, along with so many of our friends in our circle, are in a lot of ways just initiation and activation to um, them doing this internal work and finding the next step for them to do, um and being on that path. I love that you're saying like we go on it, we go off of it, we go on it, we go off of it. Like we all have our ups and downs on all of our paths in life, not just our spiritual ones. But I think we're in a time right now where there's so many paths that we can step onto that make it easier for the ones who are stepping onto it now. And I think, and it's so, I also just want to say too that it's just been so fascinating to like have stepped on the path when I did and see the people who have stepped on it in the past like 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
And I remember just like a year or two ago being like, oh my gosh, like all these people that are just opening up to it now, it's so rapid and so fast. And I was like, dude, are you serious, bro? Like it took me forever to get to this point. Are you kidding me? Like
Mhm.
that's so rude. I remember like I was so angry with Spirit at one point, just like, how come they get to do it so much faster than I did? And they in Spirit revealed to me like, bro, it's not as easy. You got to take your time. It was hard and brutal because there wasn't these paths, but you got time in between the things. And these people who have been awakening in the last year or two, there's not that much time. Like it's like boom 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 boom, so it's brutal, it's rapid, it's accelerated. And
Yeah.
I think too with the people now who are about to be waking up, I think it's going to be even more brutal, not brutal, even more rapid and accelerated.
Rapid.
So
Accelerated. Yeah. And there's a lot to that. And like when we say accelerated, we probably awakened at around the same time, 2012. And
mhm.
like a ton, millions and millions, right? But then of course, every year since, It's just been the trickle effect of people awakening to new truths. And if you're awakening in the last few years, it's like information overload. And I know so many people as well. And it's amazing. It's just to see the amount of the catapult that some people are on. It's just amazing.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
it is. And then I think the catapult as a perfect word. The catapult is the fascinating part. Like I'm like, I've had friends who have been of a different political background for so long and we didn't, talk about certain things, but and now I've like kind of shifted some of my political views and they've shifted some of their spiritual views. So it's just fascinating to like now come back together with these friends where I'm like, and we're just like totally different people, because we've opened up to different paths and it's just fascinating to have these conversations like, oh, now we can talk about these things because we're both more open and enlightened about each side of it. So
Oh, I mean, there's been actually so many blessings in the past few years,
yeah.
aside from all the trials that we all had to go through and in all these growing pains of awareness. Um, Looking back for myself, it was kind of painful. It was more painful than, but now I'm seeing the blessings, of course.
Right.
But
Absolutely.
I don't know, being clear, like a clear, cognizant kind of person. I grew into that really kind of quickly. So I had these clear knowings
Yeah.
of how things were because I was so inquisitive for so long.
Yeah.
Like one day I'm like, I need to know more. Like I know there's more to this universe and I know there's more to life. Let me know more. Like I just was like pleading to the universe. That was
Yeah.
the day of awakening.
Yeah.
And it was brutal for me too. I'm sure it was for you, like these learning curves of being thrown into the in the tornado of possibilities of the reality shifting around you and so it's such a rapid way.
Yeah.
It's a lot to adjust to. And I think that and we're so blessed to have found one another and then our group of friends when we did during like right before the lockdown happened.
Yeah.
Because really it was like a lonely journey up until that point.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. Like, I think most people have this awakening trial, and a lot of it is by themselves, and they feel
Yeah.
super isolated and alone, and they think they're going crazy, like I did. And
Yeah.
but then again, I'm like, no, I know this is real. I'm balanced, and I know, and I get like, yeah, I'm getting these words in my head, and I look them up, and my mind is blown. Like, what?
Yeah.
It's
Totally.
pretty amazing.
It's so interesting. There's two words that you said that I want to touch on, and brutal and trials. So, um, with brutal, it was interesting. I said brutal earlier, and I kind of stepped back. I'm like, nah, it's not brutal because I don't want to scare people into not stepping onto this path ever, right? But like honestly, it's like a big part of what I talk about is how freaking brutal it is, bro. Like it's so brutal sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, and I think being honest with that is so important but that it can be brutal, but that there is so much support now. And there's
Yeah.
so many healers out there like helping us along the way who have walked these paths and cleared the paths of all the poison oak and all the blackberry so it can be
Yeah.
much less brutal now
Yep.
because there's
Exactly.
paths. You don't have to forge your own. And
Right.
so I love that like that's what we do is help find these paths. I may not I'm not going to be able to help everyone with everything that they're going through, but I know 1,000 people
Yes.
that have forged paths to help them through what they're going through.
Yeah.
And so and it's about those people being open and willing to invest the energy and sometimes money into what that is. And knowing that like we're as healers, um, I've been doing this full time as my only gig for over 6 years now, probably closer to 7. And so it's how I provide for my family. And so I think just energetically touching on like the fact that we have paid services and stuff, and that is uncomfortable still for us as healers to be like, yeah, we charge money for like helping to heal or helping people find their own healing or whatever. That's
Yeah.
a whole nother thing. But when it comes to trials, I will also wanted to mention, as far as the being seen and being heard, that a lot of this trauma is like not even from this lifetime, but past lifetimes as witches or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, of us being persecuted because we were intuitive, because we used herbs, because we had red hair, because we had all these stupid reasons that they, you know,
Persecution.
tortured
Yeah.
and traumatized and murdered women for standing in their feminine power and intuitiveness and being connected to that. And so it does, I feel like we still have this like lingering, maybe not fear, maybe it is fear, um, but something holding us back from fully stepping into it because of how horrible um, the and from what I understand, mostly religious um, cultures persecuted these women who were so tapped in and to their intuitiveness, like we are now. So
Right.
what we considered is these evil, and still to some, I know my mom, if she saw what I was doing, like really really, like if I let her, like, oh my gosh, well, she already thinks I'm going to help, because I like Jesus isn't my everything. I freaking love Jesus. I am all
Yeah.
about Jesus, but I don't feel the same that she does, and so I'm going to hell anyway. So I'm like, oh, whatever. But
Her opinion.
yes, yes, but that being a part of what we're doing and how we're doing it, and so that's a whole nother aspect of it to consider.
Beautiful. So, so true. I love that. And we all have these viewpoints from our family members from past lifetimes of this persecution, whether it be, political, religious, you don't believe the same as me, so you're going to hell. Like,
Right.
these old beliefs are going away, and I'm so thankful. And the more and more people that come on board with understanding there's more to life after religion, like besides religion, and I also love Jesus too, but I'm not religious. I'm spiritual.
Right.
Like that, I think is the whole key of the message here. Jesus was spiritual. He wasn't religious. He didn't start a religion. He
Yeah.
didn't purposely start a religion to like have a cult following. Like
Right.
it was man who did this all. Um, but I feel like, walking through the fire is the trials we all go through. These these little no, these are trials, and for us, when we were paving the path for others, as we shared, as we knew more, we shared, and that was building. That was like building the road, the pathway for others, and they were trials, and they were kind of rigorous, because it was putting us through the underworld of our own being before we knew what was going on.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
um, and just so grateful that there are so many like YouTubes out there. Thank God for YouTube and everyone
For
knows YouTube.
real.
And then BitChute for those things that are a little on the edge that aren't YouTube worthy,
Right.
that are over
Yeah.
the top. Oh
Yes,
man.
exactly. All
Mhm.
right, cool. Well, I think we should start wrapping it up, but we did want to invite our viewers to uh chime in about our one of our what was it, our like name or our like show name or whatever, right?
Mm.
So let's throw some of these, we'll just throw some of the names that we have out there, and then if it's cool with you, invite people to like let us know some names that they can think of
Nice.
for our show. Is that cool?
Oh, cool.
Okay. So we have um elevating consciousness is one of them. Ascension flow is another one. Two witches and a mic. And my daughter made up two witches that cackle. I don't know if that one's in the running. We'll see.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, we
Yeah.
would love to hear feedback on on what name we could name this show to keep it fun. And then we also just want to mention that we have all the links for our social media pages to follow us in the description of this video. And and then I also wanted to mention the next show that we plan on doing is talking about healing old wounds from new perspectives. And so that'll be an interesting topic. And then we also just want to have other people on sometimes with us to chat too about things, specific things, healers who offer specific um, methods or modalities or services, and be able to link those with people who are looking for them. So lots of cool stuff on the way, and we hope you guys tune in for many, many more of these awesome shows that we do together. So
Yeah,
yeah.
beautiful. One other name I thought of was Take the Leap.
Ooh, take the leap. I love that. The
Yeah.
quantum leap.
Yeah, right. Because it is a lot of these topics we're going to be discussing, and it's going to be like taking a leap of faith or a leap of just extended thoughts to just jump on board with some of these ideas that we may be discussing, or people may be discussing that we have on.
Yeah, definitely. We're gonna get deep with y'all. Hope
Yeah,
you
lots to
ready.
discuss.
What's that?
Lots to discuss.
Oh, so much, so much. Um, yeah, I know there I have a list of some people and some things, but we haven't confirmed with anyone, so I won't put any of that out until we know
Right.
what we're doing and when. I think we've talked about doing this like every other week, and then maybe doing like a short thing on the opposite weeks of just our own. So Amy's stuff will be in the description as well as mine. And yeah, hopefully you guys can follow us, and if you dig our style, then we'll keep it going.
Very
Well,
good.
actually,
Well,
either way, we're gonna keep it going. But
uh-huh.
all
Well,
right, girl.
blessings,
Well, it was good to
blessings.
chat with you.
Yes,
Yes, thank you so much for making this time.
of course. And on to the next. I can't wait. And
Yes.
blessings to
All
you
right,
all. Thanks
girl.
for
Everyone,
listening.
just closing
Yeah.
this circle from all directions and blessing everyone with so much love, sending everyone healing, love, and light.
Mm.
Cheers to new beginnings. Here we go.
Yeah. Blessings to you all. All right. Thanks, Allie. And we'll see you all next time.
Okay. Yeah. All right.